Welcome back to another week of Instigating with Clarkey and Drury, brought to you by our friends at Coolbet Canada, the Listowel Squash Courts, Listowel Vision Care, See the Game, and our friends at Hanover Raceway. Don't miss all the excitement of live harness racing every Saturday, running until September 17th. Post time at 1:30. Bring the family and come have a great time enjoying the sights and sounds. We bet you'll love it. Visit them at hanoverraceway.com for details on their upcoming events. Very pleased to be joined by a good friend of mine, one of the best guys in the hockey world that I know, and an inspirational dude as well, Mr. Garrett McFadden. Garrett, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing well. Yeah, thanks to be on. I know we were just talking that it's been a while, so it's always nice to chit chat with you. And yeah, thanks again for having me on.
We appreciate you coming on off the heels of recently announced news, of course, that you have re-signed with the AHL's Lehigh Valley Phantoms. Just tell us a little bit about the deal coming together and your experience so far playing professional hockey with Lehigh Valley.
Yeah, it was really good. Obviously, last year started things off out east at Acadia, and then kind of ran into some trouble with Omicron and had to make a decision around Christmas time to go pro. And, Lehigh was sort of the first team to offer up something that I think for me was worth leaving Acadia. Obviously it was a really hard decision, but I got to, essentially play 2/3 of a season of pro hockey at the end of last year. And, mostly in the ECHL with Reading, but obviously got a chance to get up and experience things in Lehigh Valley, and thought I did really well. And obviously it's anytime that, a team reoffers you and wants to re-sign you, then it means, they kind of like what you see. And I think the comfortability there is something, that I'm looking forward to. And I think as a hockey player, you're trying to always find and always limit, the new stuff and the things you can't really prepare for. So super excited to go back, and obviously it was a pretty exciting day when the offer came in, and then I waited a little bit for it to get announced, which is fine, but was nice to kind of have that in my back pocket all summer and know kind of what I was working towards.
Garrett, you played bits and pieces of essentially 3 different seasons. Of course, COVID erasing one of the years of your U Sports career at Acadia, where you put up incredibly good numbers. And then you mentioned spending a lot of the season last year with the Reading Royals, where you put up great numbers as well and played really well, earning yourself another pro deal heading into this season. Tell us a little bit about your experience at Acadia and playing U Sports, where a lot of former OHL and CHL guys go to play. It's an extremely high level of hockey that I still think is maybe for some hockey fans like a bit of a hidden gem. I don't know that a large majority of fans are giving maybe due credit or due attention to that league. What was your experience like playing in U Sport?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, from the moment my OHL career ended and you kind of start going on recruit trips and looking into options, sort of besides pro and weighing things. I went out to Wolfville on a recruit trip at the start of August, and loved the town, loved the university. The rink was unbelievable and just like an easy sell for me. And, I think my 3.5 years there were obviously a lot of up and downs. My first year we weren't great, but I got a chance to go to Russia at the end of the season with the Canadian youth sports team, which was really cool. And my second year not really getting to play in nationals when we're there at the tournament because of the start of COVID was definitely tough. And the third year not playing, and then my fourth year, I guess they're kind of getting cut short a bit, but like you said, I fully agree. It's definitely a hidden gem. And I think there's tons of talent, that goes across the country into youth sports. And, obviously it's pretty tough to, turn down your schooling and you want to prepare yourself for the rest of life, because you can't play hockey for forever. But, there's definitely tons of talent and lots of players. And I think even more so now that, guys are coming from U Sports and signing American League deals. And even over the last couple of years, there's been some entry level NHL contracts that have come out of the league too. So I think it's exciting. And I urge people to go watch the hockey. We were, supported super well in Wolfville, and would get anywhere from 1,600 to 2,000 people out to our games, which was really cool. I think for any youth sports team, that's probably, got to be one of the upper attendances, and really well supported by the town, which was awesome. And I had a lot of fun, to be honest. Like it was some of the most fun hockey I've ever played in my life. And I miss the school. I miss, the Maritimes and Nova Scotia a lot. But obviously it's kind of nice to sort of embark on that pro career and get things going too.
I know people in my backyard here in Listowel, of course, remember that Tonka Ted Nickel, the former captain of the Kingston Frontenacs, he played U Sport hockey. A lot of guys from this area in Midwestern Ontario went on and played very successful careers in U Sport hockey. So I'm glad to hear that you enjoyed your time there. You, of course, mentioned your OHL career, which I know a lot of fans around here will be most familiar with when it comes to you. And of course, suiting up for the Guelph Storm, who I now broadcast games for. And it's a shame that I kind of missed the end of your career. But, we've still been able to kind of become friends since then, and largely through your work with McFadden's movement. And we've talked at length about the great work you're doing in terms of promoting men's mental health, junior hockey players' mental health, and youth mental health as well. For people who maybe aren't familiar with McFadden's movement, which I don't even know how that's possible, but for maybe some people watching this and listening that aren't familiar with it, take us again through your inspiration to do it and what you do with McFadden's movement, Garrett.
Sure. Yeah, when I was in grade 9, we lost a family friend, Wes Cameron, to suicide. Really close friend of my older sister Madison's, and he was obviously playing for the Highlanders, Grey Bruce Highlanders at the time, same time I was. So it was something that, definitely I think I related to, and I think all of a sudden you kind of learn exactly what mental health is and how many people are really affected by it and how important it is. And through my time in Guelph, the team was super involved in the community, and I was lucky enough to become really close friends with Steph Karate, who was working for the team in our community relations stuff at the time. And we just decided to sort of launch our own not-for-profit foundation, which is McFadden's movement, and just kind of raising money and awareness for youth athletes and youth in general. I think just about, the importance of mental health, and talking a little bit about my story, mostly, some stories from when I was in Guelph and sort of the ups and downs that happen when you are playing in the OHL. And I think that a lot of kids maybe don't realize that, even in the biggest spotlight, things can be pretty difficult. And I've been doing that for the last 6 years. We're kind of right on the edge of a big announcement, but I might as well spoil it on here and say, we raised 20,000 at our last golf tournament this summer. And so that'll put us just over the 100,000 mark for over the last 6 years, donated to both West for Youth and CMHA Waterloo Wellington. So it's been exciting. It's been really cool. And I think that, since I started 6 years ago, there's a lot more athletes that are coming out and talking about mental health, which is obviously huge. And I think for young kids, to hear NHLers or guys that are playing in the NBA or golfers or, tennis players or whoever it is, to kind of come out and speak about, the struggles that they're dealing with, and kind of open that door and open that conversation for young kids to understand that it's okay to get, to be down on yourself or have bad days, but it's also important to kind of take care of yourself mentally. It's definitely huge. So that's kind of what we've been working towards, obviously, sort of, trying to end the stigma that surrounds mental health. And, I've been super lucky to just have a ton of support from both the Guelph community, and I think everyone around over, the last 6 years has been really, really awesome.
Well, I commend you again, and congratulations on that milestone. I know that you and Steph have worked very hard, and obviously, it's an incredible and inspiring story because, I didn't know Wes, unfortunately, but I've obviously grown, very fond and familiar with the West for Youth people. His mom, of course, Yolanda, is amazing. Jen, everybody over there, they're great to work with. And I know that you've given a lot of your time and a lot of effort toward helping that organization, which provides mental health counseling for free for youth in our area, which is incredibly important. Garrett, you talk about Steph, and I don't know how many people listening or watching this are maybe familiar with Steph, but she's a super incredible person. Like, she's right from my early days where I started doing fill-in work on Guelph Storm broadcasts when she was still around. She was always the friendliest person in the rink. She was always gung-ho to get behind a cause or help somebody or show me around the rink because I was lost when I first showed up there. Like, she's a super awesome person. Talk a little bit about your relationship with her and just what she's meant to not only yourself, but helping you get McFadden's movement off the ground.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I say all the time that it would be nothing without her. And, obviously my name's on it and it is called McFadden's movement, but I'm definitely a co-founder for a reason. And, she does everything and, anything that we put together. And I think she has a standard of excellence and wants to do things, sort of to the best of her ability. And I think that pushes me to kind of, keep up with her and try to do, and accomplish everything that we can together. And I think we make a really good team, but obviously, she's definitely the backbone, whether it's reminders trying to get me to do stuff or, just kind of that constant motivation and hunger to keep going. And, there's some years, and I think especially after I was done in Guelph, where it kind of felt like, how is McFadden's movement going to be perceived now that, I'm not playing for the Storm and, I've moved away to Nova Scotia and maybe things seem a little bit more distant, but she's definitely pushed to keep things going. And I think we kind of use energy amongst each other and we've been able to obviously accomplish a lot. And I honestly can't thank her enough. I pretty much owe everything to do with McFadden's movement that we've accomplished to her. And I think it's, like you said, a testament to who she is as a person. She'll go to the ends of the earth to help anyone. And, luckily enough, we've created a great friendship, and she's definitely one of my best friends in the world. And, super lucky to have, one, been in the Storm during her time there and got to know her really well. And two, get to, talk with her pretty much every day and form a not-for-profit charity that is as successful as it is. And she's definitely got a huge fingerprint on that.
She's quite a fighter. She'll go to the wall for people, and that's really special. And it's great to have people like that in your corner. We're gonna have to bug Steph and get her on this show because she is still involved in hockey. She's a big hockey fan, and I know she just got back from Italy too, so we can bug her a little bit about that. Reflecting back on your time with Guelph, obviously we know junior hockey, it's very cyclical. Franchises go up and down. I do wonder, Garrett, how connected are you still to people within the organization and the team as they move forward into coming up what should be a very exciting season for the Storm? Like, are you in contact with any of those guys? Does anybody ever reach out to you for advice, that sort of thing? Like, how involved are you still, if at all, with the Storm and the organization?
Yeah, I mean, I think since I've left, there's been a couple coaching changes now, and new ownership, and obviously new equipment managers, and all sorts of different changes. But there's still lots of people and, within the office that I stay in contact with all the time. And I think as far as the guys go, it's kind of funny, actually. Cooper Walker was our stick boy when I was 16. And now he's an overager. So he was at the golf tournament back in July, and we were just chatting. I was like, it's pretty hard to believe, it's been, for me, almost 5 years since I played for the Storm, and to think back to when I was 16, that's, long time ago now. And, to see him as an overager and, I've gotten close with a couple of the guys. Ben McFarland too has been out to the tournament a few times, and yeah, we try and stay involved. And I think McFadden's movement has sort of been a gateway for us to get to know some of the young kids that are coming in. And obviously I keep pretty close tabs on the team because I like to see, the success of the organization. And it looked like a pretty great year for them last year, and they were a really young team. So yeah, I'm definitely excited to see what they got. And obviously they got the young stud blue liner and Cam Allen back there, who, I think is going to be a really great player, and definitely excited for that. So yeah, as alumni, I think you just try to stay involved however you can. And maybe those guys aren't really asking me for advice because they have, lots of people in their corner who could give them maybe, just as good of advice as I could. But yeah, you try to stay involved, like I said, as much as you can. And I definitely follow along.
It's funny, and I'm hoping maybe there's an opportunity where you can be in Guelph for a home game this year or something. And if you are, we'd love to drag you into the booth, Steve Fitzsimmons and I. We always love seeing former Storm, particularly you, in the building. It's funny, in my first year last year as a full-time broadcaster with the team, there's a guy on the blue line who is undrafted in the NHL and I think can play pro hockey that reminds me a lot of the way you played. And that's Luca Profaka. And I don't know how familiar you are with his style of play or his tenure so far in Guelph, but I think that, he earned an invite to an NHL camp in the off season. The Storm had a great draft day. I mean, 4 guys were drafted this year, and that's part of the excitement in Guelph. Take me back to your time in Guelph where, you're approaching the end of your OHL career. You've not been drafted by an NHL team. You're still wanting to play and you're still passionate about being a hockey player. What was it like for you as you entered U Sport and kind of navigating how you were going to make that happen? Because I think Luca is kind of going through a similar thing right now.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it was sort of weighing the OHL scholarship option. And I think as a kid, school was something that my parents made, sort of a priority, obviously, to do well in school. And, when I was playing in Guelph, I was still taking courses at the University of Guelph, once I graduated high school. So my last 3 years as junior, I ended up finishing a full year of university courses. So I think for me, like, having that in my back pocket, knowing that I only really had to go to school for 3 years. And if I really wanted to, could kind of fast track and do summer school. And, I originally had a plan to kind of be done in 2 years and then be able to leave school with a degree and still be young enough to, really have an early, I guess, pro career. But yeah, it was definitely a tough decision because, obviously I believed in myself and was hoping that I would get a good enough contract offer that would kind of persuade me to, forego my OHL scholarship and not have to go to school. And I don't think that guys go to play in the OHL and dream of going to play U Sports hockey. It's really not, as glamorous as obviously getting a pro deal or whatnot. But yeah, for me, it just kind of came down to, it was a great option. And I really liked where I was at. And I went to a camp and out in Vancouver, and just the offer wasn't there for me. So it just turned into, committing to a school and going to play and see how I would do out there. And obviously I think both sides of it, are a really cool experience. I think being able to play pro as a young player is obviously really good for your development and it's going to help you along the way. And, but at the same time, like we talked about, I think that U Sports hockey is still really quality hockey, and you can still develop your game and, still play in different areas of the country where maybe you get different exposure and some scouts like what you're doing and you can kind of, impress different teams. So I think for me, it came down to, I was nervous to give up my school package because I just wanted to have my degree and then not have to worry about it. And now I think that I have it and I'm playing pro hockey. It's kind of like I'm playing with house money, and I can just go out there and not really worry about what I'm going to do next because, if hockey was to end one day, then I can go out into the real world and still have a, little something on my resume where I could get a decent job. So, it's super tough decision. I mean, it was really hard. It's definitely taxing on your mind. And I think even through that overage year, as time is winding down, you're kind of like, what's going to happen? But I don't know. That's kind of the life in pro hockey. There's not many guys out there that have 4 or 5, 6 year deals and kind of know where they're going to be for the next half of 10 years or whatever. So you're kind of going contract to contract, and it's difficult in any year. So no matter what the situation, I think it's just kind of weighing your pros and cons and sort of following your heart and your stomach. And I did that and went out to Acadia, and now I'm obviously pretty happy that I did that. And now I get to play pro, and it's been a lot of fun.
Well, I'm really proud of what you've been able to accomplish, my friend. And I'd love to ask you, I mean, just how much do you still have a burning desire to potentially crack an NHL lineup someday? Because, there have been a lot of good players that have gone on to solid NHL careers, however long or short they may be, that were never drafted. The Tim Thomases of the world, Adam Oates, of course, maybe the best undrafted player ever. And I remember reading an interview with him years ago where he said he seriously considered quitting playing at 2021. He was like, no one's giving me the time of day. And the guy went on to score like 1,300 points and play a lot of quality hockey. How much of a burning desire do you still have to crack an NHL team?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you dream of it as a little kid. And I think every year when that cup comes out, it's just like, oh my God, I would kill to, play in an NHL game or have a chance to, lift that cup. And it's one of those things where all of a sudden, maybe there were some dark days when I was playing youth sports and you're kind of like, oh man, like, is anyone even watching this game? And then all of a sudden, last year I played 4 games in the American League, and it's like, okay, well, you're a league away and you're not really far off from, stringing together 10 or 15 good games in a row. And all of a sudden people are looking at you. And I think for me, when I first arrived in Lehigh, there was a guy by the name of Hayden Hodgson who played in the O, who, essentially went from at the start of the year was on a 2-way American League deal and then signed a 2-year 1-way extension. And anyways, it gets a little complicated, but he went from basically an American League deal and playing in the coast to playing in the NHL for the Flyers in the same year. And, it's kind of crazy how fast it can happen. And, I think that the margin of skill between those leagues is so close that, given what you have and all you need is opportunity and, maybe a little bit of luck here and there, but who knows when that's going to happen. And it's definitely there for me. So it's kind of one of those things that you just hope. And every summer you work harder and you just try and do whatever you can to play for as long as you can. So.
Well, Garrett, you've kind of made a reputation, at least at the rink and certainly off of it, for being one of the hardest workers that I've ever witnessed, for sure. I think you can do it. And, I don't know if you know this, but my cousin Brad Shaw, who was a longtime pro player and of course is now an assistant coach with one Philadelphia Flyers and was a defenseman. I might need to whisper in Brad's ear to pay a little extra attention to the AHL tape this year, because there's a guy on the team I know that might be pretty good. So, you never know, man. You never know. I'd love to leave off with asking you a fun question, though. We've talked about it a lot on the show. I know you love golf. You're a passionate guy. You host a great golf tournament all the time as well with McFadden's Movement. What's your opinion on this whole live tour thing? Like, what are your thoughts on the controversy, the PGA pumping more money in? Like, what's your thought on this whole fiasco? Everybody seems to have an opinion. I'd love to hear yours.
I'm definitely, I think, more of a traditionalist when it comes to the PGA. I just love the events and nothing beats a majors weekend. And I can't imagine, people making pools for live golf tournaments and, forking up a bunch of cash. So, I mean, it's crazy the money that they're throwing and for those guys who have played pro golf and all of a sudden they fall on top of $100 million, like you can't not be happy for them. But at the same time, I don't know, like I just can't imagine, watching a live golf tour event and ever really feeling like super excited about it. I just couldn't get there, and like there will never be the Masters, and even as long as it goes on in my lifetime, I just can't think. I don't think it would get to where the tradition is of PGA golf tournaments, and I don't know. I think it's good for the sport just to have some competition. Obviously, like you said, all of a sudden the PGA is getting off their wallets a little bit, and the guys are getting paid more. So I think that was kind of the intentions of the other guys leaving and sort of putting some pressure on the PGA for the greater good, I guess. But it's unfortunate that they kind of have to break up, and a lot of the same players that are on the tour all the time aren't all of a sudden. And all of a sudden you get kind of two fields that are good but not great as they could be. So I don't know. It's one of those things. I'm definitely on the PGA side, but I'm definitely happy to see them with a little bit of pressure on themselves.
I think I tend to agree with you, and I think Clarkey would as well if he were here to chat with you. And Garrett, I really appreciate your time. I know you're busy. Good luck this season. Really happy for you, and keep chasing that NHL dream, man, because like you said, I believe in you, man, and I don't think it's far away. I think you can do it, because if we've learned anything about Garrett McFadden over the last few years that I've known you, when you set your mind to something, you can do it, man. So, hey, I really appreciate you doing this, and best of luck this season, my friend.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Thanks again for having me on.
All right, everybody, we'll take a quick break here. When we come back, Clarkey will jump on, and there's a lot to talk about, including the Blue Jays' recent run, the 92 World Series 30th anniversary coming up, and a number of other big sports topics to chat about here on Instigating with Clarkey and Drury. Welcome back to Instigating with Clarkey and Drury, brought to you by our friends at Coolbet. Thanks again to our friend Garrett McFadden of McFadden's Movement, and of course the Lehigh Valley Phantoms, for jumping on the show. Pleased to be joined by my regular co-host, Mr. Clark. Our first show together in like 2 weeks.
Where have you been, buddy? Doing? Where have you been?
I was in the lake, my friend.
I know. I saw the pictures. Very nice. Very nice. The boat, the life jacket. Can you swim? Again, that's not being funny, but can you swim?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay. Because you were on the dock and you had the life jacket on, and I just wondered, like, it's fine. I don't like it's. I would too. If I jumped in the lake, I'd have a life jacket on. I can swim. I can swim, but I just don't trust myself at my advanced.
Well, there's like a shelf of rock that's shallow there, right off the dock where we are. So like you can swim out there like comfortably for a good 30 feet.
Nice. Can you share where you were? What part of the world?
I was at Windy Lake, across from Windy Lake Provincial Park. It's a tiny little lake up just north of Sudbury.
Oh, you were way up there. How were the bugs?
They were fine. Like there were a couple of nights. Yeah, the bugs up there are super bad in like May, early June.
Yeah.
They really thin out by the time we went up. And they were fine. It was great. It's my favorite place to go in the world. It's nice. Awesome to spend time up there with the girlfriend and her family. A bunch of her extended family live up there, so we saw a lot of people we haven't seen in a long time.
Does Kate like being referred to as the girlfriend?
I don't know that she cares. Kate, do you like being referred to as the girlfriend off camera? Yeah, she doesn't care. She just doesn't care. Okay. Kate's pretty chill, and yeah, she's the photo taker, which is good because I don't document anything.
Oh, that's good. I've been taking a lot of photos too. I don't know if you've seen.
I'm paying attention to what you're up to on Facebook. You're
a new camera.
You're Mr. Should we call you National Geographic from now on?
Yeah, maybe. I love doing it. I got a new camera, a new lens, and I'm getting right into it and spending way too much money on those two things. But hey, I enjoy it. So what the heck, right?
It's a beautiful hobby, man. Why not? You would have been jealous of us. We saw a couple beautiful bald eagles that were hanging around our camp. So
Beauty.
It was something. And of course, there's bears up there, so that's always fun.
Did you see any bears?
We didn't see any bears this year. We saw last year. We saw some, but unfortunately, they're always at the dump. They're at the dump up there.
Of course they are
digging stuff out, man.
Yeah, of course. That's
their
where they
favorite
live.
place.
It's sad, but that's where they live. It's easy food for them, right?
So they love it.
Yeah.
Speaking of loving it, the Jays are.
What
loving
is
it
going
right now.
on there? Like I had written them off. Like I said, the Yankees are like. The Yankees won't be caught. Now they may still not be caught, but holy God, they came within what, 6?
Well, it's down, I think,
7?
now to 7 or 7.5 because the Yankees actually handled the Mets.
That's
quite
easily
well, that's
easily to come back on that.
It's certainly not impossible.
They're playing like shit, so we'll see.
They're atrocious right now. I mean, since the All-Star break, they have been absolutely abysmal. A record, I believe, under 500. They might have crept back over that 500 mark since the All-Star break with those wins against their cross-city rivals, who are having a good season in their own right. But yeah, I mean, when you consider back in late May, early June, their lead was as much as 16 and a half games, and to now have it around that 7 or 8 mark.
Yeah.
That's not impossible.
No, not at all. It's not impossible. Hey, you know what? Like it's fun again to watch them. I mean, when you beat the Yankees 2 out of 3 or 3 out of 4, whatever it was,
3 out of 4,
3 out of 4. It's good, and they're right back in it. We're recording this show on my daughter's birthday. Happy birthday to Jenna. I'm going over there soon. And what I've given her for her birthday, because we're recording now, so she's not going to know before I get there, is tickets to a Blue Jay home game in the playoffs. So they got to win and they got to make it. If they don't, then she's out of luck. No, I'll find something else, but that's what I'm going to get her. So I hope the tickets
be clutching
like
$1,000.
Yeah. Hopefully the tickets are $500, but we'll figure it out. But yeah,
that's amazing.
I want to get to it. I want to get to a game. We went to a game against Texas back in, what was it, 16? So
right. Yeah. Well, that would have been,
but they got
the one to go
creamed.
to.
They got creamed. No, I wasn't at the game. They got creamed in the game I went to. Like they lost 13-3 or something. But I love the atmosphere. Like that's the only game I want to go see. Like I was thinking, well, maybe we go see a Boston game near the end of the year because they play Boston the last week. So it could be clinching time. But we'll go to a playoff game. They'll make the playoffs, right? They got to host them because all the games are at the team. The first 2 basic wild card teams host all 3 games.
Yes.
So they got to finish either. Well, they're not. Well, if they catch the Yankees, that's a done deal. Or they got to finish first in the wild card race. So we'll see.
Yeah, Tampa currently, I believe, as we record this, a half game, maybe a full game ahead in first place now in the wild card as the Rays are doing what they do and waking up down the stretch. They're a very solid ball team, remember, without Wander Franco, who is due to come back maybe early September. But the Jays, I mean, Yusei Kikuchi is now a bullpen arm, and maybe he won't
telling
even
you
be
they can't send this guy down. There's something in his contract.
8 straight balls.
He's useless. He really is.
Walk 2 batters in Wednesday night's game in Boston
with a 9-2 lead, right?
Yeah, you can't even bring this guy on with a 7+ run lead. I mean, it's just absolutely incredible.
Pull him.
But on the other side of the spectrum, on the positive side, George Springer, since coming back from his latest injury stint, is hitting 600. And has a crazy on-base percentage and is driving in key clutch game-winning runs. Yeah. The back end of the bullpen is actually looking quite solid. Yusei Kikuchi and maybe Adam Simber of late aside. Jimmy Garcia providing very quality outs. Anthony Bass providing extremely quality outs, and this is all kind of culminating soon to the 30th anniversary celebrations coming up, where a lot of Jays that were on that first ever World Series winning team are going to be in attendance, and that's pretty special. And Clarkey, I mean, you have very vivid memories of that time.
Yeah, I sure do. I wasn't at the playoff games, but I was certainly there a lot during the regular season, and I enjoyed the playoffs from home. But yeah, there was nothing like Mike Timlin taking that Otis Nixon bunt and flipping it over to first base in Atlanta to win their first World Series, and of course Joe Carter the next year. But yeah, we're celebrating the '92 team on Saturday. There's a couple guys not going to be there. Unfortunately, Twitter's gone a little nuts on Robbie Alomar not going to be there, but. That's the way it goes when you.
Robbie probably shouldn't be there.
Yeah, and I heard Kelly Gruber's not going to be there either. Kelly's had some incidents lately, should we say, in public, and won't be there as well. So, but hey, there's 38 other guys that could come, so we'll see. It should be fun. I'm sure Cito will be there. Hey,
I would assume so. I haven't seen anything confirming that he won't.
Yeah, but it's sold out.
Should he be in the Hall of Fame, Clarkey?
He won back-to-back World Series. He had a good record. I liked him as a manager. I criticized him a lot, but at the end of the day, winning is everything. And
correct me if I'm wrong. The first African American manager to ever win a World Series. I believe he's the only one still. If I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong there, but I mean he was the first guy to do it. Certainly. I think Dusty did win one. Yeah, I'd have to look that up. Yeah. But Cito certainly the first one.
Oh yeah.
And doing it in historic fashion. I agree. I think he should be a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, and there's some guys on that team who I really got to know very well. Mike Timlin being one of them. I was actually at his wedding in Florida. Like we got to know Mike pretty well. He used to come on my Jays Talk show with Bob McCowan after the games. And one day my wife was there, and his girlfriend at the time was there. And next thing I know, after the game, they're saying we're going out for dinner with them, and we went over to his apartment after, and I had a nice little friendship with Mike, so that was nice. But and then at his wedding in it's a funny story. When I went to his wedding, and it was in Florida, and we went down to Florida for the wedding, and Tom Cheek was there, and I obviously worked with Tom very closely, and Tom gave me those double takes, because he didn't know I was going to be there. And he goes, I would have been more surprised to see Santa Claus here. How do you know Mike Timlin? In Tom's great ways. But so I told him, I got to know him pretty well. So it'll be good. And it's the pitching matchup is unbelievable for Saturday, and it's Bomber Jacket giveaway day. It's sold out. Ryan Drury thought the whole season was going to be sold out. It's a sad bet that he lost there. And our producer Adam will fill us in on what you owe me at the end of the season. It's already done. You're not going to break any records. So
I believe it was a 12-pack of the winner's choice of beer.
Okay, there you go. So anyway, it should be an exciting game on Saturday. Can't get tickets now unless you want to pay through the nose, but you can buy, I guess, second selling ones. What do they call it?
Yeah, the resale market.
The resale, yeah. But anyway,
it
should be good.
It's
it
interesting.
Should be fun to watch.
It'll be PVR. It'll be incredible to see. I can't wait to watch that game. And I mean, geez, you bring up the pitching matchup, and, talking about the Jays, brought up Kikuchi. Obviously, everybody's, fed up and familiar with what he's all about.
Yeah.
But Ross Stripling just continues to be an unbelievable story. And I think if you end up in a 3-game wildcard series, or who knows, maybe potentially pulling a miracle and winning the division, whatever the playoff scenario looks like, I think he probably has to be your number 3 guy.
Oh, I think so. Yeah, I think so for sure. He's been surprising. You particularly made fun of him a little bit last year on the show, but that's fine. He battled back, and he's been really good. And like, as you said, Jimmy Garcia, there's another one that I told you when the Jays got him, you said Yimmy, and I said, he wants to be named Jimmy, and you said, I'm not calling him Jimmy. I remember these little things, but he's Jimmy Garcia, and he is throwing 97 miles an hour. And like, his strikeout ratio on that fastball is unbelievable. Like, he is unhittable when he's throwing that fastball at 97, and he's got a great curveball to go along with it. He can drop one in at 86, 85, and then throw 197 by. He's the setup guy. He's the Mike Timlin. Like, he's the Dwayne Ward. He's the guy who came in before Tom Henke did back in the day, right? So he's doing a good job, and you need that 8th inning setup guy, and he's doing a great job.
He is. I would like to say in my defense that in Miami he was known as Yimmy Garcia.
I know he was. I know it's the classic. I just like put like, you could do it all day long. Probably
it's the classic Russian name in hockey thing. It's like it's Kovalchuk,
but I saw an interview with him, and he says, "I'd like to be named Jimmy. My name is Jimmy, not Yimmy." Anyway,
well,
so I said that on the show, and you go, "I'm not calling him Jimmy." Anyway, it's all good.
Well,
You've come around.
He can be called whatever he wants when he's playing like this in Toronto. I'd like to ask you, Clarkey, because I know you got to run soon here. You mentioned we're recording this on your daughter's birthday. Happy birthday, Jenna. I would like to ask you though, and I'm asking this not in jest. I'm being serious, because we all know the plight of your Maple Leafs. The Argos have had swells of up and down success throughout the last number of years. The Raptors, of course, 2019 maybe gave people a glimpse into what championships look like. But the Jays, back then, what was it like to have one of the big teams in Toronto be that successful? Like, what was it to be around that?
Let me set the scene a little bit more for you, because I worked at what was called CJCL Radio back in 1989, and until September of 1992, we're known as CJCL 1430. In September of 1992, just as the Jays were going into the playoffs, they, of course, changed the station over to the Fan. So just imagine, all of a sudden there's a sports radio station in town. The Jays are going into a World Series run. I'm producing McCowan's show. I'm down at the Dome every day. It was unbelievable. Like, you look back now and you think, geez, like how lucky I was, right? Like it was great time. And like the city was a buzz. It's just unfortunate, Ryan, that we've had now to go 29 years without anything, right? Basically, like, yeah, you can count the Raptors win in 2019.
Yeah, you can count that.
Yeah, you can count that. But like the Jays and the Leafs haven't done anything since.
TFC, let's give TFC some respect here. Come on, Clarkey, your favorite sport of soccer.
TFC. But the Leafs, and the funny thing is, the Leafs had a semifinal run in 93 and 94, 92, 93, 93, 94. They made it to the semifinals.
02 as well.
If it wasn't a high stick to Gretzky, we would have won the cup that year. And then the Canucks were a better team in 94 and beat them out. In 02, Pat Quinn, that was the first year of Leafs TV, which I was at as well. So it was kind of ironic. And last week, I don't know if you heard the show, but we reminisced.
Yes, I did.
With Sean Fitzgerald about Leafs TV coming to an end. And,
that's right. I wondered how you felt about that. Yeah, and I watched the show. I'd encourage everybody to watch last week's show. Yeah. Sean Fitzgerald of The Athletic, a dear friend of this show. Yeah, it was an interesting chat, and weird times continue across the media landscape. Clarkey, we got to let you go.
Okay, I got to get going.
And I will continue. We'll take a quick break here. Wish Jen a happy birthday from the show.
Make sure. Yeah, and producer Adam's on the ball. Dusty did not win a World Series as a manager, did as a player.
That's right.
That's right. But he has the info on our bet, so he can fill you in.
Absolutely. He'll fill me in. We'll take a quick break here on Instigating with Clarkey and Drury. Clarkey's an expert. Back to wrap things up here on Instigating with Clarkey and Drury. Ryan Drury still here with you, and there's producer Adam from behind the camera. Hello, sir. How are you?
Good. How are you doing, Ryan? First time on the show, so yeah, sure. Why not?
They have incredible appearance.
Yeah, they used to have producer Tim, right, with Jay and Dan, and now you actually get to see what the producer looks like this time. I'm no like shady figure behind the board.
Yes, you're not just an AI. You're a real person. You exist. Yep. Producer Adam's a real guy we've been referring to this entire time on the show. It's good to have you on. Okay, so as Clarkey teed up, I mean, before we talk about some cool stuff that we were both up to and are going to be up to in the near future, fill me in on this bet. I've clearly, they're not going to break the attendance record. That's clearly not going to happen at this point. What was the bet? I was pretty bang on, wasn't I? Wasn't it a 12 pack of the winner's choice of beer?
Yes, you were right. Yeah. So, and as you guys discussed, your bet was, they were going to sell it every game. And Clarkey said they weren't going to break in any attendance records. And it was a 12 pack of the winner's choice of beer, except the side bet on the bottom was that I get a 6-pack regardless from the loser. So you actually need to buy a 16 pack, right? You need to get 12 for Clarkey and 6 for me.
Well, wouldn't that amount to 18?
Or 18, sorry, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hey, if you want to give me 2 of yours, that's fine to drown my sorrows, but I'd rather you just take your 18. Yes, I do remember that addition. And
that was the rider, the bottom rider on the bet.
Well, all the hard work you do for us on the show, you should get some beer. Why not? Yes, I guess I'm going to have to slide Clarkey a 12-pack of probably Stella. Is what I would assume, and why not? You win a bet. You're not going to buy Bud Light. No disrespect to Anheuser-Busch. You're going to get the high end European stuff. As long as he doesn't ask me for like Guinness or something, which I love. I'm not buying that guy Guinness. Come on here.
12 of Guinness is not cheap either. 12.
They're
Guinness
not cheap. That's like that'd be like $28, $30. Yeah. No, he can have whatever he wants, and you will have to slide me the details of whatever libation is your preference.
All right. Inside baseball, like here's the office I'm sitting in Hanover for Whiteman, and I just want my neighbor right here. I could see it out my window. McLean's Ales, just right there.
I would be happy to supply you with a 6-pack of delicious McLean's Ales. Let's do that. You should talk to McLean's Ales. I love beer. Let's get another sponsor involved here, McLean's. Come on. All right, let's talk about some fun stuff. Obviously, on our last episode, we featured a really fun interview that I was able to do before I went up to the lake with Kaleb Dahlgren, who many are familiar with from the Humboldt Broncos tragedy, and of course a best-selling author now with his book Crossroads. I previewed his arrival for a speaking engagement here in Listowel, which I attended on Wednesday, August 24th. Took Kate and her parents along with me. They were selling copies of the book. He did a big book signing after. He spoke for almost 2 hours.
Wow.
It was an incredibly powerful event. He was so open and kind, and just, he bore his soul to everybody in attendance. There are, a few hundred people packing the stands at the Listowel Ag Fairgrounds, and you could hear a pin drop. Everybody was enraptured with every word that he said, detailing his life story. Of course, if you're not familiar, please read his book. His book's fantastic. Diagnosed as a diabetic, a type 1 diabetic at the age of 4, going through all those trials. He shared with us this in the book as well, just about his dad getting sick, his hockey journey, of course, Humboldt, which is a big part of his life. And most importantly, I think, and you can go back on our YouTube channel and watch it, his journey toward healing, and of course the book and all the great things he's up to now, earning well on his way to earning a degree as a professional chiropractor. Adam, it was an emotionally charged night. It was incredible. Kaleb, like he mentioned in our interview and in his book, has a great foundation, a diabetes outreach foundation for kids. It's called Diabetes. And the books that he sold at the event, as well as all the ticket revenue, are all going to a really incredible place in Huntsville called Camp Huronda, which is a special camp for diabetic children. They do really, really incredible stuff. There were a good conglomerate of local kids from Listowel and the surrounding area that are diabetics. Kaleb spent a bunch of time with them before the event, had dinner with them. Like, it was really... He's just an incredible kid. And I mean, the interview we were able to feature on this show, one of the highlight interviews I've ever been able to do professionally, already showed that. But I think for the people that were at the event, Adam, it was something to witness in person. And I was lucky enough to spend a bit of time with him after the book signing. I did get my book signed. I should probably have it in my hand, but I don't. He wrote me a very nice message in there, and a really, really special event to attend.
That's awesome. And yeah, he was a great interview on the show. I'm sad I didn't get a chance to go and attend it myself, but great location, right? Listowel Ag Fair Society and the building they have there, perfect spot for that to happen. And I'm not surprised that the stands were completely filled based just on the interview we did with Kaleb. That was an amazing interview, and he's very, very well spoken, obviously. And yeah, that's an amazing event, and what a way to raise some money for the place in Huntsville. Awesome. I don't know what more to say. That was great.
It was a spectacular evening for sure. And if you want to learn more about Kaleb, his initiative, Diabetes, or even Camp Huronda, visit their respective websites. Camp Huronda has a great site where you can learn more about their efforts. And of course, Kaleb's website is just simply KalebDahlgren.com, where you can find out what he's up to. And again, I'd encourage anybody who hasn't read Crossroads to pick up a copy. It's an extremely affordable book, and a book you will not regret purchasing. Speaking of purchasing things, Mr. Olivero, you are going to be going to a Blue Jays game and taking the family. Tell us all about this. It's very exciting.
Absolutely, very exciting. So it'll be my first Blue Jays game that I'm going to since probably, I'm going to say 2006, 2007. So I haven't seen any of these. No, I haven't seen any of these, the New Look Jays or anything. And, back in 2006, I don't even remember who would have been playing then, but we were way up in the nosebleed 500s. Like
Halliday would have been pitching.
Probably, but they were peanuts, right? Because we were in the top row at the back.
Alex Rios,
yeah,
maybe?
That sounds
was still there.
Yeah, maybe. No, I'm excited, and like, geez, the guys are playing amazing right now. Like, they just had an amazing, like you guys were mentioning, against the Yankees and the Red Sox. They're doing great against them. So I'm hoping that rolls into them playing the Los Angeles Angels, because that's who they're going to be playing. And I said to my brother, Ryan, I said, listen, we may get to see Shohei Ohtani. And he goes, oh, okay. So you want to get tickets for that game? Absolutely. And then like maybe a week after I bought the tickets, they're like, Mike Trout's off the IL. I'm like, whoa, my gosh, this is going to be quite the game to see these, like, that caliber of players on the field playing. And I didn't get 500 seats. I'm in section 130 and about 32 rows up from the Jays dugout. So if anybody's watching this show on Friday night, when you're watching the game on Sunday, see if you see me, some crazy guy from Hanover waving from the back of where Hazel May does the interviews on that wide shot camera after the game. I think we're like the last row on the top there when they do the interviews with the Jays player. So
you're going to have a great time, man. Down the third base line. Yep. You're going to get a good look at, of course, everyone knows my favorite player, Mr. Matt Chapman. Wave to Chappie for me, would you? Maybe write up a sign for me and give him a
says
wave.
Hi. He like,
who? Absolutely. Chappie, come on the show.
There you go.
Yeah, he's my guy, and you're going to have a very good look at the magician that is Mr. Matt Chapman. Well, that's going to be awesome for you. I mean, regardless of whether you see him pitch or not, Shohei will absolutely hit baseballs. Yep. And there's always the possibility that he launches a 440-foot missile. And Mike Trout is, well, he's Mike Trout, isn't he? So you are certainly in for a treat, my friend. Barring of, not even to mention what the Jays are up to lately. You're going to see the 600 hitting of late George Springer. And we hope, fingers crossed, we're recording this before the game you're going to. Please don't get hurt again, Springy. We love you. And of course, Vlad, it's not bad watching that guy live either. So have a lot of fun, man. And I'm sure
there's quite a...
Well, Bichette is...
He's getting better. He's had a rough match for sure.
He's not as exciting to watch as he should be, but there's always the potential that he'll launch a missile, because while he does swing at everything, when he does connect, they tend to go very far as well. So you never know. He might put one out of the dome.
We picked the Sunday game because that's the very last outdoor junior Jays game. So my niece, and my daughter, we'll be there for a long time. Like, the game's at 1:37, but Jays have recommended for this last junior Jays that we arrive at 10:45 a.m. because they've got all kinds of outdoor activities, hot dog stands, batting cages for the kids to try, and then beyond all that, when the game is over, they get to run the bases down on field. So it's going to be quite the event. We'll be there pretty much the whole day. So I'm excited.
You are going to be locked and loaded in the GTA. It's going to be a fun experience, my friend. Well, it's been another fun show. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to throw in a plug. If anybody's listening or watching and they want to grab some Jays gear on their way down, our friends at Lasting Memories Locker Room have all their Jays gear at half price right now. So we were there this afternoon at getting ourselves geared up to go to the game. So visit Scott and the people over there at Lasting Memories if you need something here in Hanover.
I love Lasting Memories. It's a great store down there in Hanover. Absolutely. All right. What a great show. We appreciate, again, our good friend Garrett McFadden for more on what he's always up to with his great mental health initiative, McFadden's Movement. They got a website, very easy to find and very easy to donate to West for Youth or a number of other Canadian Mental Health Association charities. There's links there on the site that you can get involved with. We appreciate Garrett joining us on the show. We appreciate, of course, Clarkey, Mr. National Geographic, jumping on the show to chat as well. And of course, producer Adam. Well, we appreciate producer Adam every single week, don't we? So for all of us here at Instigating, we appreciate all of our great sponsors and all of you for watching and listening. Remember, Friday nights at 8, Sunday nights at 9, you can watch this show with our friends on Whiteman TV, brought to you by one producer, Adam. And of course, you can find us on social media at Instigating Pod and watch our YouTube channel where the show debuts every Friday night at 9 p.m. That's it from us. We'll be back next week with more Instigating.